Breaking news, Governor Ron DeSantis and Attorney General James Othmeyer reacting to a new report by CBS Miami, which claims millions of taxpayer dollars from a Medicaid settlement were diverted to a charity spearheaded by First Lady DeSantis and then used for political purposes.
So the report by CBS Miami states that it obtained a copy of the grand jury's presentment, which did not recommend criminal charges, but criticized the handling of money that was supposed to be directed to health care for poor children.
WESH 2 has live team coverage with new reaction to this report from Governor DeSantis and Attorney General James Othmeyer. We're going to start with Greg Fox live in studio with the governor's comments. And Greg, the governor pushed back hard on the release of the sealed grand jury document.
He sure did. And in fact, he said the only crime that's been committed is the leaking of that document. In the grand jury report obtained by CBS Miami, the jury members found the appropriation of $10 million to be used to oppose two proposed amendments in 2024, quote, part of a sophisticated scheme to fund political activities. When asked by a reporter this morning about the diversion of funds from a Medicaid settlement with the state, first to DeSantis' Hope Florida nonprofit, and then to political committees, the governor responded this way.
What you just said is a lie. There was no diversion of any Medicaid funds. That was a private settlement where a company made a private contribution to a DSO affiliated with one of the state agencies. And so don't lie, don't get it wrong.
The governor said the money the state received from the Medicaid settlement was separate from what he called a $10 million donation to Hope Florida, but he offered no explanation for why the $10 million was then sent through two other political committees and ended up in the hands of a committee called Keep Florida Clean, which was chaired by James Othmeyer, who was then DeSantis' chief of staff and later appointed Attorney General. The money was used on ads, mailers, and other campaign efforts to fight the proposed recreational marijuana amendment and the abortion rights amendment. Both measures failed. According to the report obtained by CBS Miami, the grand jury concluded, despite our finding that the money was misappropriated, we find insufficient evidence to charge anyone criminally. Nobody will take responsibility for deciding the $10 million of taxpayer money would go to Hope Florida or had any memory of who made it. Democratic leadership is calling for a more extensive investigation. Sonica?
Well, our team coverage continues now with Bob Hazen, who is live in the Villages, where the Attorney General just reacted to that report. Bob, what did he have to say?
Yeah, well, he would not get very deep into the allegations that money was misappropriated, but that grand jury report does say that he was involved in it. That report says, quote, we find that James Othmeyer, as the governor's chief of staff at the time of settlement, was in a position of authority over those involved in settling with Centene. Now, Othmeyer was asked about that report here in the Villages. He claimed he couldn't talk about the allegations and also blamed Democrats for the controversy.
I'm not allowed under Florida law to comment on the report, so I can't say if it's true or not. But if it is indeed true, it shows a couple things. First, it shows that there was no probable cause found that anybody did anything wrong. It also, you know, if this report is true and it shows that the Democrats had to collude with the press to break the law and release a document that's not allowed to be released under the law just to show that a far left Democrat state attorney is incompetent, then I don't think we have anything to worry about here.
And we should note that a Republican state representative is the one who first raised alarms and filed that complaint about the $10 million going to Hope Florida. Othmeyer called it all a hoax and denied that anyone did anything wrong. Covering Sumter County, live in the Villages, Bob Hazen, WESH 2 News.